Hi everyone, welcome to After Class with Ballet for All,
a podcast by two passionate adult ballerinas about all things adult ballet related.
and some random thoughts in between.
We're so glad you're here.
So grab your water bottle
Or a cup of coffee.
and join us for a quick chat after class.
Hello, Miss Yelena, how are you?
Hello, Hannah. So lovely to have you back after you got a week of holidays.
I know, it's so good to be back. It's funny because I think I needed the break, but it's always hard, that first class back of getting back into the groove. It's like I'm excited for it, but also scared. Just because I'm like, what's my body gonna feel like? It's like you're never really sure how your body's gonna feel that first class back, but it was good to be back.
What is funny is that I totally forgot that you weren't here last week. So the first hour, which is our group class, I totally forgot about it. And I went like ballistic, like, let's do this and let's do that, not stop it, keep going and keep going and keep going. Maggie on the back, like stretching her calves. And you were like, it's okay, I can do it. And then we just jumped straight on your point class. I'm like, oops, Hannah, we're going to take the point class slow. We don't need to push ourselves. I'm so glad I remember at least of the point class. Otherwise, we would be ready to quit after this.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not doing grand pliés in fourth position today. That's
That's right. I did notice that. I'm glad I gave the option. Okay, you can either do grand pliés or demi pliés. I was like, just doing grand plié in every position but fourth. That's very nice.
That's the one that always gets me on like my hips. I don't know why. Like it's a weird position. I'm like, does anyone feel fully comfortable and like at home in a grand plie in fourth position, or is that just like universally weird for everyone?
I presume that is to everyone and especially when it's your second exercise of the class. This is something that I try to avoid constantly, and it's really demanding. Like you can feel it.
Yeah,
it's taxing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm 36 and my body doesn't bend that way.
And in fourth position, it's the worst to do grand plie, mostly when you're cold.
So today, this is going to be a fun one. I'm excited for this one because this is something that I have always been so curious about ever since I first found your YouTube channel, is knowing that you were trained at the Cuban National Ballet School, which is obviously a very famous ballet program, and something that as Americans, a lot of times, like we don't know a lot about because of Cuba's political situation and history. Like there's not a lot of knowledge about the school unless you went to it. And so I think it's really cool that you have that background. And I've been wanting to, since we first started doing the podcast, do an entire episode that was just dedicated to hearing about your experience at the Cuban National Ballet School. So that's what this episode is going to be about, and I'm really excited. So
I'm going to love it.
Yeah, I know. Like, this is fun. So can we just jump right in? Are you ready for the first question?
Yay! Bring it on.
All right. So how old were you when you entered the school?
So we entered the school in Cuba. The scholar year starts in September, October. So my birthday is in June. Therefore, I was 15 when I did the exams and I entered the ballet school. So I was 15 years old.
So because I know when we did the episode where we interviewed you, you said you started your training, right, when you were 7, I think you said. And that was at like a regional school. And then you entered the National Ballet School at 15. Is that right?
Yeah. So I'm not really sure. I'm not aware how it's at the moment. I believe that it's still the same, but in order to be able to apply for the National Ballet School, you first need to have 5 years on the Vocational Ballet School, which there are a few of them around the country, just to facilitate everyone from the entire country to be able to have that professional training before they go to Havana, to the capital, to do the training in the National Ballet School. So I started my vocational school in my city when I was 7 to 8. I think I was 7 or 8 already. I think I was 8. So I was 8 years old. We did 5 years, and we did that exam when you are 14 to 15. So I was 15 when I entered the school.
And then did you have to audition to get in, or did they just know based on school you were at, they kind of recommend you for the program, or how does that work actually getting accepted to the school?
It's again auditions. So you need to have you need to pass every year when you go to the vocational school. Every year you still have to do an exam. So those 5 years, which is the typical time that you spend in the vocational school, is 5 years having exams at the end of the scholar year for those for that consecutive time. And then you have to do, again, examine your city. And on top of that, you need to go to audition to the National Ballet. Again, this was 2011 when I graduated. I'm not really aware of how the process at the moment, but I'm pretty sure it's Cuba and nothing changes there. I presume that it stays exactly the same. And it's between 1 to 2 weeks of exams in which we are doing, if you come, like in my case, I was the only one from my city. So I had to join a group that I didn't know anyone in Havana. So I could audition with their class. Or if you are coming with a group from your own city, your ballet teacher already has a class done that you're going to present with all of your classmates. You're going to present that. And then whoever passed after you doing that class, which is really good because you have a few months to get ready, the entire class, memorize exercise. With your teacher, she will give you the feedbacks. However, in my case, I had to go to Havana and learn everything. So getting used to new classmates, new to a new teacher, which she has not the best interest on me because she didn't know me and she didn't have me for 5 years. She only had me for a month before I presented to national school. So she, whether I pass or not, it wasn't in her agenda. So it was all up to me to get used to the teacher, get used to the students, learn their type of teaching, which is, again, different, the musics, the way they do everything. And I did that for 2 months. And then with their class, we presented this group's class to the main teachers on the National Ballet School. We auditioned with that class, and then imagine that there's every vocational school from the entire country. So that's everyone coming to the capital. And let's say that city number 1 presents today, city number 2 presents tomorrow, and just like that. And then when everyone is selected, and we are all the same age, then we will have a new class that we never seen, that we have no idea what the exercises look like with a new teacher. And you're learning the class. You go home, and the next day, you're coming back and hopefully memorizing the entire class and presenting the entire class. They always correct the exercise in front of you. Let's mark the exercise quickly, but it's like, tuck, 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 tuck. Okay, piano, please. And you're like, freaking out. So
wow,
that's kind of like the audition process. On top of that, you need to present a variation. So you bring your own variation that you train in your city with your teacher. But then they will give you another variation just to see how you catch movements, how you catch choreography, how's your coordination, So it's all that in 1 or 2 weeks. Like, it's really stressful.
Yeah, I feel like the audition process alone sounds like professional life.
Yeah, it is.
You're already almost operating at the level of like what a professional dancer would be expected to do just in the audition process to get in the school.
Yeah, it is very professional. We have an East ballet class, point class. It is I remember that when I did my audition, I fall off doing tombepa with a simple pirouette. I fall off doing that in the diagonal, and I was just crying, and I was so sad. And I was like, can I do it again? And they're like, you do it to the other side, but good to me. My good side is the left. So I got to do it to the other side, and I just show up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm sure it was a really stressful process like that, especially as a 15-year-old. That had to be a really crazy couple weeks.
It's so many of us. Like, it's everyone. Like, in my city, I was the only girl who was selected to go at the end of the day, like at the end of the 5 years, to go to a national ballet school. Boys, they were a little bit more, but the boys didn't, because we couldn't present boys and girls together. That's the other thing. Boys present their own class, girls present a different class. So the boys did stay in my city preparing with my teachers, but I had to leave them behind and go to Havana 2 months earlier. So imagine that in my group, we were like 17 boys presenting to the exam, and that's just one school of the entire country. So the other one is 22, and then the other school, another 22. So it's like hundreds of us. We don't know each other. We are all scared, but at the same time, you're presenting for your forever career. So you are in that very competitive environment. Everyone is a little bit at the edge and jumpy, and so
yeah.
At 15 years old,
it really is. Hearing you talk about it, I think that's like what strikes me the most, is that that's a very pressure-packed situation for someone so young, and that's kind of segues right into actually getting accepted into the school, which I'm sure just kind of continued. And the level, that they expect of professionalism. And yeah, I can only imagine that if that's what the audition process was like, then once you get in, classes are probably also very high level. But what was the school itself like?
So that was super fun. I remember in my own city, I didn't need to go to a boarding school because it was like 20 minutes from home. But still, I just asked my mom, like, please, can you put me on boarding? Like, I really want to sleep in the school. And my mom's like, you don't need to. It's Cuba. We don't have hot waters in the showers at school. We had to carry buckets of water from the first floor up to the fourth floor when I was staying, like where our dormitories were, right? So this is in the vocational ballet school. So I kind of had the experience a little bit. When we got to the national school, the dormitory was like 30, 40 minutes from the school. And we had the school bus that would take us every morning. Now, if you miss the bus, you had to find a time to get before the bus get to school. You have to find a way. Because if they knew you were in the bus, you would get in big trouble. Because they're paying all this fuel and time. And how can you not be on time to get the bus? And they would be like doing the role as you enter the school. It's not like they're waiting for everyone to be inside the school. No. They're like, oh, so you come in the bus? It gets, I present that the first year I felt a little bit more because you're learning, but then in second year, third year, whatever, if we get a little bit late, it's fine. But that first year was a little bit stressful. But it is cool because it was like this big, very colonial house. And in Cuba, in the political situation, 50, 60 years ago, everyone who had good money position, like wealth position, they were leaving the country as the revolution happened. And their houses were taken, houses of like massive, gorgeous colonial houses were taken by the government and given to schools like mine to make it dormitories for boardings, as boarding schools. So you can imagine those massive, gorgeous kitchens that were they made our breakfast and dinners and lunches. I remember we have this gorgeous house with marble staircases going to the second floor. It's like 7 bedrooms. Every bedroom has a bathroom inside the bedrooms. We had like bunk beds, and will be like 4 of us or 8 of us in one bedroom. Huge balconies on the middle of Havana. It was just like really lovely. We had a lovely backyard and garden, and they kept it pretty well. They would pick us up there from the dormitories, and they would drive us to school. And then we spent the whole day at school from 7:30 a.m. up to 6 p.m. And the days that we had to do a little bit of rehearsal or whatever, we'll get up to 9 p.m. And there is no way to go to your dormitory of anything. If you needed something from your bedroom, you had to get at 7 a.m. Otherwise, there was no way for you to look at anything that you left behind. It was fun. I loved that. It was great, a great time.
And then, so what's the school itself like? That's in the center of the city, right?
Yeah.
And what's kind of the layout?
It's just such a gorgeous building right in front of Prado, what is called. So I don't know if any of listening this podcast ever been to Cuba, but you haven't been to Cuba and you have seen Prado, right? It's this, how would you describe what Prado is? It's like road in one side, road on the other one, but in the middle is this huge, massive wall.
Yeah.
Like a park?
Like a walkway. Yeah, it is kind of a park. Yeah.
It has all this bench where you can sit and the lions. It's just like really, like you would never imagine having that in a country like Cuba, because everyone knows about Cuba. It's a poor country and the bad situation and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, we used to be the elite country in the continent, basically. So that is, our school is just in front of that, and it's like this very old, I think it's 1902. I think that our building from the 1902. High ceilings, we have 1, 2, 3 floors, and all of those floors have massive dancing rooms. Like, they are massive. We can fit 50 of us at the time in each classroom, and if I'm not wrong, they are by numbers. And I do remember that number 5, dancing room 5, that was the one. That was the one everyone wanted to be, because that was the biggest one. the doors everywhere, always looking the classes through the doors. They were given to like the best rehearsals, like the most important rehearsals. And I do remember he was the only one that had AC as well. So we all really wanted to be there. But I mean, you needed to be like the best teachers as students so you could be there. And that was just only like the oldest students. Classroom, massive, gorgeous. We had the French, where we learn French, studio with like headphones, sets, and all that, so we could listen to the French classes. And we have on the imagine like 1902 wealthy houses. Again, I think that it was a house, and the bottom floor they used it to build rehabilitation room, which I'm talking about 15 years ago in Cuba. We had like the elite rehabilitation center in our school for sport and ballet. Like, I just remember, it was just the best. Then the gym was massive as well. We also had 2 other dancing rooms at the bottom. And the bathroom were gorgeous. I remember the bathroom. The school would move like in a big U, or like it's like a big round thing. So classroom would be all on the borders, and in the center it would be just the... I just love remembering all these now. We will have the rooms in the center would be bathrooms, and then there was just one little room like alone that was for makeup. So we will have makeup classes as well. And then this is all joined by these massive staircases that go down. Let's go down to the first floor. Imagine that you're going to go to the school, yeah? So you're going to just standing in front of this huge, massive staircase, and it goes up, and then it opens both ways. So you can go right or you can go left, and this gorgeous mirror right in front of you. Then you go up to the second floor, and again, you go up to the third floor, again, the same.
It was so awesome that you got to have your training be in a place that was so beautiful, just architecturally, and like that's so special. And it's cool that even now you have memories of being there and just how the building was, and like what an incredible experience to train somewhere that's so inspiring, you know, that your surroundings are so inspiring. That's super cool. So what was a typical day in your life? I know you said you would get to school at 7:30 and at 6, sometimes 9, but do you remember kind of what your class schedule was like?
Yeah, so from the top of my head, mostly we will start, like I remember we had the uniform, but we already had 7 a.m., we already had the ballet band done, like you would not get to school without it. We will have thighs leotard, like fully dressed. I can't really just tell you the one day even of 1 year because I can't remember, but for sure we will go either to do a ballet class or a technical class, and then change to do the more, like, we still have to do math and language and all that, so we still kept doing those, but they will like interchange. Let's say that we get to school early in the morning, I would just go straight to the dancing room and do ballet for an hour, 30 or 40 minutes. It would be ballet. Sometimes we will have the point classes within the class. Sometimes it will be just point. So let's say that 7:30 to 9 will be that. Then we go straight to do character dance, which is another hour, or ballroom dance. We call them ballroom dance or salon dance. And it's the character dance, but softer. So we learn to dance like slow waltz, and it's less aggressive. It's not the Spanish dance, not the Russian dance, like you can see in Nutcracker. Then that would be 9 to 10, and then 10 to 11 or 11:30, we will either have another technical class. That could be all the cross-training exercises, basically your abs, typical abs. We have a huge, massive gym with all of the equipment for everything. We didn't lift too much weight, but we did a lot of weight for legs. Then we will have break lunch, which the school provides lunch, and it was that in the bottom floor as well, where the gym and the rehabilitation room was. Sometimes we actually used to have a free recess. Yeah, so we will have like a 20-30 minute recess to have a little bit of a fruit but we really never used it because the bread was too hard, or the soft drink was too sweet, or the juice or whatever. So we just never really had it. And then after lunch, we will start either with history of ballet, French, music. We might have some rehearsal class that we might need to fit over there. So you really run, change your clothes. But we are actually never without the leotards and the thighs. So we spend the whole day leotard thighs. And you might, if you go to math or you go to theory class base, we had to put the uniform top. We will have all those classes. And then sometimes, so we might need to try some costumes because we're preparing for a rehearsal or for a presentation. It was really fun.
One of the things that I think is really interesting that you've mentioned before is that the school, which I guess was really by way of the government, was supplying all of your shoes and your leotards, because I know you've mentioned like it wasn't like you could just go to a ballet store. So they were donated to the school and then you guys would have to kind of make it work with whatever was donated. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's a really interesting facet of the Cuban Ballet School specifically.
Yeah, so we were given everything from your flats, points, thighs, leotards. Obviously, that's it, the basics. We were not given warmers or booties or anything like that. Some of the kids from the national, like from the Havana, they will get it because they are from the capital, they have their possibilities. But there wasn't such things as fitting point shoes. That didn't, like, I didn't know that existed until I got to the real world. And I'm like, fitting?
What? That blew my mind when you told me that. I was like, you never got fitted? Like, you just had to wear whatever you could jam onto your foot? Like, that's so... Because, I mean, obviously, we know now you can really jack up your feet, you know, being in shoes that don't fit. And the fact that you guys never got fitted and you just had to make do with what the school could provide to you, that blew my mind. That's crazy.
Point shoes. I went with my point shoes and they were like, okay, what number are you? And Sancha. That's the only brand I knew. Capezio. So Sancha, Capezio. Now, Capezio, that would be only for those that are going abroad. I remember, oh my God, getting my first Capezio thighs once. And because I bought them, like, everything we had was donations. I think they were from China. Anyways, everything was so free. We never had to pay for nothing. Now, the leotards weren't cute. And we were not allowed to have, like, it was they look like bathing suits, seriously. It was like these very basic, plain black leotards. We only could wear black. But yeah, the thighs, I remember the type of deodorants that we use in Cuba, they're mostly like the little ball that you like roll, right? So now I'm saying this because as soon as the hole in the thigh was open, we would put the deodorant on the inside of the thigh. We will stretch the thigh on top of it and just like sew it. And why we do that is because we sew it as it's stretched. So then and very little. So then when it closed, you can't really see it. But when you stretch, it doesn't break. We had to do so many things, like, because we had to make it last.
So you had to have all these hacks to like preserve your stuff for like it, which is, it's interesting because I think it's easy to take for granted when you live somewhere. Like I live in America and, you know, I know some of our listeners live in Europe or different places and, you know, it's easy to take for granted. Like, oh, I get a hole in my tights. I just go to the store and get another pair. But that was not your experience growing up. You had to make it last.
But the point shoes, I would just tell them, I'm a 37.5. That's it. And they would be like, oh, is it too thick? So they would find the one that is less. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is fine. This is the one that fits me. Okay, next. And there's a big line of us waiting. So I was like, whatever.
Well, that's probably why you have such beautiful feet, is because they've just had to, like, adapt to whatever. They're like, I have to dance on dead shoes, all this stuff. So that's why you have, like, archy, gorgeous feet. Not that I'm recommending that to people listening. You should not dance on shoes that don't fit you or that are dead. We're not advocating for that, but Yelena does have beautiful feet, and maybe that's why. Although you've also been having issues lately with not being able to feel your toes.
Oh my God.
Maybe that is one of the that's one of the negative side effects of dancing on shoes.
Probably dancing on the wrong shoe.
So what were the teachers like? Because I know in class sometimes You like alluded to just how strict, like how you like could go to the bathroom. There's all these rules. And I remember one time, I don't know if you have shared this on the podcast or if this is just something you told me, but I think I remember you saying that they would hold a lighter under
Oh,
your
yeah.
leg to like make sure that you kept your leg up if you were like in an extension.
Yeah, that was mostly in the vocational school. They would do all that. Like they would pinch you and have a needle under your leg and all that. And but when you get to the National Ballet School, they don't do any of those tortures. At least not physical. It was very mental. The teachers would sit on your, like you are dancing. And that was my first experience within the auditions. You are dancing and they are all sitting with these straight faces. And they just lay back. And there's like the oldest teachers, very like intimidating faces. And you are dancing, you are already scared. You are already doing all these new dances, new classes, new exercises, and then I'm looking at you like, whatever, like move on, next, nothing on their faces, and that's like forever. They were lovely teachers, very knowledgeable teachers.
How often did you get to see your family?
We were meant to go back home almost every weekend, but I mean, if a Saturday there was something going on in the theater, we will invite it, like the ballet school. We will be doing a small dance for whatever is happening. So every Saturday there was something happening. So I will go 1 or 2 weekends, at least 3 weekends a month. I will try to go back home.
So did you get to perform then while you were still a student, or you guys didn't get to have performance opportunities until after you graduated?
No, we didn't get opportunities to dance. And few selected students will do international competitions. I mean,
okay,
very few, because the government paid for all that. The government paid for the plane tickets and the accommodations abroad and all that. And they always knew that although we're young, the ones that have family abroad will use that opportunity to escape, and not to escape, but to stay in that other country and stay with their family, which happened lots.
Yeah, so that was kind of what the government would say was like a risk of sending students abroad for things like competitions or different dance experiences, is that they would worry that they would use it to like defect, I guess would be the word.
Yeah, not to try to.
Wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, so many things that just don't think of, you know, but yeah, your experience is so unique. So how old were you when you graduated from the school?
So I graduated in 2011. 2011 I graduated. 2019 I wish. And I was 19, 19 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
So
wow.
Young.
So that was kind of like the equivalent, I guess, at least from an American perspective, of like your high school years.
Yeah. Yeah. For us, high school is up to the 9th grade. And then the other 3 will be pre-university, is what we call it.
I'm sure everyone found this super interesting, like I did, because it is just, it's a window into, like I said at the beginning, like a world that most people just have no idea.
Oh, thank you so much, Hannah. I love this interview again.
Yeah, and we'll link photos in the show notes for sure so that people can see exactly what Yelena was referring to when she was describing like the staircase. And if you have any questions for Yelena that we didn't talk about, definitely feel free to email us or message her on social media, because I'm sure there's things that I didn't think to ask that people would be curious about, and it'd be fun to maybe do a part 2 at some point.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I'm going to see you in our next episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you for listening to After Class with Ballet for All.
Join the community on YouTube and Instagram, or come dance with us, our weekly Zoom classes for adult ballerinas like you.
Links included in the episode description. Special thank you to our sponsors.
See you next time after class. Podcast produced by Mission Bridge Media.